Welcome, everyone, to the Golden Note Podcast. My name is Jesse.
And I'm Karen Deep.
And today we are going to be talking about an album that is very much left field for me in my musical tastes. It was on the 1001 albums to listen to before you die list that we've kind of been covering regularly here, trying to get through that monster of a, of a list. So this is... It's called Call of the Valley. It is an Indian classical album featuring 3 different musicians on them. One of them being Shiv Kumar Sharma, who is playing the santoor. And I've never heard of this instrument before. And I've never heard of this album before or anything. So let's talk about familiarity. Karen, give me your thoughts in general about this pick and what your kind of familiarity is with any of it, if you have any.
Yes, I haven't listened to this record itself, but I have some familiarity with Indian classical music. Working with Justin Gray, did some fusion. My first instrument was actually tabla.
Okay.
I played that one as a kid in the Indian temple, so it
Cool.
feels like very familiar in that regard. But I'm no expert by any means. I just really have had these sounds floating in my ears, and I can definitely appreciate it.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was like, I don't want to say daunting, but just like, okay, I have no idea what to expect. I never really listen to this on Apple Music, like easy listening, like on my headphones or anything like that. So, yeah, I was very intrigued with this. So let's go into some background information really quick about this album. Came out in the late 60s, I believe 1967. But Apple Music says 1968, so it's up for contention. We'll let the commenters decide.
Yes.
But apparently, it's one of the most celebrated Indian classical albums of all time.
Wow.
This is like a big boy, and
It's a big boy
in the genre. You know,
Yes,
this is a big album. Which once again, I've never heard of this album before. But it's really interesting. So on some of the research that I did says it was a groundbreaking album. The Sharma's santoor playing was like very groundbreaking in the way he played it, because he like brought it into like a classical way of playing the santoor. Let's talk about the santoor, but just as a little aside, is it okay? It's not is it a guitar?
It's more of a, Google says it's more of a hammered dulcimer. It's a stringed instrument,
Okay.
but you like hit it with little mallets.
Okay.
Hit the strings with little mallets.
Okay.
As if you like open up the back of the piano and you start going to town.
It's kind of like piano, yeah, because that's what piano is essentially, right? Except it's being hit with keys rather than like actually physically hitting it using just your arms or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
It's cool.
Cool. So this album apparently was big internationally. It brought a lot of Western listeners to Indian music and Indian classical music, which I find very intriguing. And, you know, I always bring up the Beatles, and I'm going to do it again. You know, this is 1967, 1968. This is right around the time that the Beatles start really engaging with like Indian music. And like they even took a trip together to India, and it was like a very famous trip. Any Beatles fan knows about their experiences in India, and like they recorded some of the White. They wrote some of the White Album while they were there. And yeah, so I'm curious if this was an album that they maybe listened to as part of their introduction.
I think I read somewhere that they were at least very big fans of this record in particular.
Okay. Okay. So they were.
They must have heard it, or must have known about it around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. So let's get into it then.
Sure.
Call of the Valley. First song, Raga. Getting mystical vibes. Am I pronouncing? Is that how you? I don't know why he's laughing. Why are you laughing? I feel like I pronounced something wrong.
You didn't pronounce anything wrong. It's just you're doing your best, you know?
Okay.
You're doing your best.
No, you could say if I pronounced it wrong, but I appreciate the acknowledgement of my effort.
Coming from my background, it's just
How do you say it?
Raga.
Raga.
Yes.
Okay.
Or rag. That's the way I would say it.
Okay.
More of like
I might just defer to you for every song name.
Now, I'm also one of the most Canadian brown dudes I've ever met in my entire life. So I feel like I also don't have any standing whatsoever with this stuff.
More than
but,
me, man. More than me.
but it's still entertaining to hear other people say the words, you know?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
thank you for that.
Okay. If it's entertaining, I'll say them.
Great.
You know?
Yeah, feel free.
Okay.
I'm not going to say
And then please correct
anything.
me. No,
won't correct
no, I
you
need you.
at
I
all.
need you to correct me. I'm curious.
Okay.
Okay. So with this song, yeah, I'm liking it. Beautiful guitar and flute solos throughout. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know the difference between the Santoor and the guitar, like which I'm talking about.
The Santoor is like the clickety clacky one.
Yeah.
And the guitar is like the more traditional string slidey one.
Is it okay? So the string, yeah, for sure. The string, like, so they wouldn't have sounded similar to me while I was listening.
Okay.
It would have been
Yeah,
right.
it would have been different,
It would have.
yes.
It would
Yeah.
have really. Okay, never mind. Disregard what I just said, because I'm pretty sure I knew when the guitar was happening.
Good, yes. The guitar, I think, in this record definitely carried the more of the primary melodic voice.
Okay.
And the Centaur was kind of like more accompaniment, sometimes call and
Yeah.
response.
Yeah.
The clickety clack, very
Almost like a
whimsical.
harp vibe.
Yes.
Yeah?
Harp vibes.
Okay.
Centaur.
Okay.
There you go.
We're good. We're good. Okay. I will say a theme throughout this entire album for me was the percussion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big percussion drums guy, and I really liked it. I really loved the percussion throughout. Every time it kicked in, I'd be like, "Yes, finally!"
Nice. Yes.
Because there were moments on this album where it was like there's no percussion, and I was just like, "Please,
Yeah.
when will the percussion
And then
come
when
in?"
the beat drops, it really drops.
Yeah. I also have in my notes here, is it bongo would be the percussion, or like
Those are the tablas.
the tablas?
Yes.
Okay, the
You
tablas.
get a low one that's like kind of woomy, and then the smaller one that's kind of like ringy and more transient.
Yeah. And you said that was your first instrument?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Tablas. Okay.
Tablas. Very good.
Okay. And I'm also getting meditative vibes from this song.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed the tempo picks up in the last quarter, gets faster. And overall, I was a fan. What did you think?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved the flute came in at one point, and I think my understanding is one of the guys the guy who plays the tabla also played the flute and some other instruments. So I assume that the way they had the recording session set up is just the tablas were close mic'd, had a great sound, but then when he picked up the flute, they're like, it's loud enough, you'll hear it eventually. So it sounded like it was in the back of the room, and it was just such a nice vibe to have that as an opening when the flute came in.
Yeah.
It felt very relaxed and calm with that sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I loved the flute in general. The next track is, would you like me to try to pronounce it?
Yeah.
Ahir Berav.
Not bad.
Okay.
I think the first one is Ahir,
Okay.
and then the second one I'm more confident with is Bairav.
Berav. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. That's the second song.
Mm-hmm.
Slow fade in on this one. It's kind of haunting, which I liked.
Yeah.
And this was when the flute for me really was like an element to which I was like, wow, like I'm noticing this, and this is like gorgeous. Like I really like it.
Yeah.
And it kind of like I was like, I really like flute.
Great.
Like apparently, kind of like when I was listening to Bob Dylan, I was like, I really like harmonica. I really like the flute here.
That's probably one of the best reactions you could have of somebody playing an instrument in any context, just being like, oh, I really like that instrument. I really like that sound. And it's not every day that you hear somebody playing the instrument where you get that reaction.
Yeah.
I think this record is full of that. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy that you felt that way.
Yeah. What about you?
The flute was great.
Yeah.
Definitely. Every musician on this record just world class, you know, just like everyone was in control, listening. It felt super connected. And I think it actually broke my brain for a little bit because the guitar player plays with a slide, and there's some really fast lines at one point where I'm like, I don't even know how it's physically possible to move the slide that fast, let alone that accurately. So I think I was a little overwhelmed, to be honest, by the musicianship.
Okay.
I was like, oh crap.
Wow.
I can't do that. There's no way I can ever do that. How are they doing it so well? You know,
Dang.
so there's that element to it as well.
Wow. Okay. I also felt like the instrumentation was amazing. In terms of the recording, though, do you think they did this like track by track, or was this all in one room? I get the sense based on when you were describing the flute,
Yeah.
right? This was all like they were all playing together, like essentially one takes.
Yeah, it definitely is a like a one take type of thing. I doubt
Like live off the floor is what I was looking
more
for.
live off
Yeah.
the floor. Yeah. It definitely feels and sounds as if it's in one room,
Yeah.
and usually the music is played that way. Everyone's just kind of sitting down on the floor, gathered around, and playing the music in that way. We'll get to one of the tracks where I think the recording was definitely different.
Okay.
It might have been like a demo track, might have been a poor, like maybe they ran out of tape, so they had
Okay.
to improvise. But yeah, one room, live off the floor. I think that's how it was recorded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Next one is the not. Oh, I already forget how to pronounce this next one. The
Not Bayrav.
Bayrav. Okay.
Yeah.
The fade in I really liked. I wrote here angelic fade in, with some bursting and colorful flute, and in general it was just like very colorful and almost playful the way that the instrumentation was arranged and just how the song is.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think the naming of it was kind of interesting. The name of the tracks, actually. I have here Raga Pilu. I don't know. Like these rags, I guess one little bit of background I think about this music. My understanding is that a raga is like a collection of it's like a scale, but not necessarily. It's like a collection of melodic phrases, but not necessarily. It has to do with it's related to the time of day.
Okay.
So certain rags are played at certain times of day to evoke certain emotions.
Oh, cool.
And so it's kind of like a collection of emotion, context, and melodic / harmonic context as well that is played within that and improvised with. But it's not necessarily here's a major scale and we're playing the major scale.
Right.
But it's almost like that.
Right.
And so these names of the rags are just like here's a collection, here's a palette, and here's what the musicians are doing with that
Okay.
palette.
Okay.
And Bayrav is one of my favorite rags. It's a really cool, kind of like almost harmonic minor type of thing. It's very evocative, and it has to do with a lot of melancholy vibes. So I really like that.
Oh, okay.
But,
So that's totally different from what I was just talking about. I wonder
But how it comes across is, it's still different for everybody.
for sure. But you said the name's different, so I wonder if there's like a different. Because I'm Apple Music, you're
I'm a
Spotify.
Spotify guy.
So I wonder if it was different depending on which streaming service.
Yeah, and I think that's just part of like how do you? It's not necessarily a song necessarily.
Right.
It's kind of like it doesn't necessarily fit the song tradition of the Western music. So I imagine the guys naming the record and bringing it to Apple Music or Spotify is like, oh, what do we call it?
Yeah,
And how do we translate it into like
Gotcha.
English letters? So there's a little bit of that involved, I think, as well.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. That's pretty much all I had to say about that one. The next one I had was so on Apple Music it was Raga, and then in brackets Desh, and then Dadra.
Nice.
I don't know if that's.
I think I had that one.
Similar to you.
I need to check my phone.
Yeah. I just wrote for this one. It was very peaceful vibes. I will also say the songs are very long, and that is something that for me, very much. I am not a fan of anything above 5.5 minutes. So this was a bit, I definitely had to exercise some of my active listening on this album, but
Very good.
I think it worked out pretty well. So what did you think of this? Is this a track that you had? Raga Desh Dadra?
Yes.
Raga.
This one, I felt was very peaceful as well.
Okay.
It was hard for me to point out a track on its own. As I was listening to this, I really just felt like it was a whole album that I had to consider. Definitely instrumentation is relatively the same, so it was hard for me to separate my experience from track to track.
Okay.
So it blends a lot in my brain.
Okay.
That's why I'm having a hard time even considering each track as we're bringing it in, let alone the names and what have you.
Fair enough.
Well, I think what was beautiful overall, I guess, on this peaceful vibe
Yeah.
is what stood out to me was it really evoked like these landscapes that I think they're trying to paint in the music. I read, and this is probably a little bit of context beforehand. I read on the Wikipedia page that it was about like a shepherd going through, like traveling across the country, and just like
Yeah, there's like a bit of a concept to
there's
this
a
album.
concept too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that little seedling of an idea in my brain, all of it just made sense. When it was peaceful, when it was exploratory, when it was adventurous, when
Yeah.
it felt like I was listening to a sunset, when it felt like I was listening to a grand, lush field of sheep,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of that will be reoccurring, I think, with all these songs.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of had the naturistic idea in mind just from the album title. I was like, okay, Call of the Valley. The valley is calling. And maybe these are the sounds of the valley. And like this is the overall kind of feeling of what it means to be within the valley, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm good to just kind of like summarize my notes here for like all of them and just
Sure,
kind of
yeah.
paint a picture of what the listener can expect.
Mhm. And maybe some great moments that you
For-
may have mentioned or
Sure.
whatever. Yeah.
So for Raga, and then is it Raga Boop?
Boop. Yep.
BHOOP?
That was funny. I
do you
keep on
pronounce
laughing
it?
at that one. I think it's boop.
Okay, Raga Boop. There's a fleety flute intro, almost like bird whistles, which I really loved. Love the background guitar in the intro. There's a transition halfway through with percussion, giving it more momentum. That's an overall theme as well throughout this album, is that it kind of starts off, you know, like the dynamics are really working in these songs, where it starts off really soft, angelic, and then it starts building up with the percussion halfway through, and then the percussion and the song kind of gets really fast towards the end, and then it
Yes.
just stops.
There's a name for that I forget, but a lot of these dogs, they have not only the melodic / harmonic context along with the emotional kind of focus, but there's also a rhythmic element that is combined with that, which is called the tal, sort of the time or the rhythm. And the tal is not just a groove, like a loop that's being played. It's grooves, it's motifs that it's also developed through different tempos and through time. Often there's acceleration for that, and it's all improvised in that regard. Like the musicians kind of feel it through. But then as those tempos change and as those rhythms change in the tal of the rag, that it kind of carries you through this sort of story, this arc that's actually somewhat prescribed initially in the rag as well.
Oh,
so
cool.
it's kind of like a roadmap that's set out when they choose to play a certain rag, and then they kind of work their way through that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So there's a recurring thing in a lot of the songs where there's some acceleration and there's
Yeah.
different tempos
Yeah.
and the grooves kind of change a little bit and things
Okay,
like that. Yeah.
so it's like a pretty common structure.
Common structure,
essentially,
yeah. But
yeah.
definitely far from verse chorus structures that we're very familiar with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But like similar idea of like most pop songs have like verse, chorus, bridge, outro. It's like similar. Like
Similar.
the rags have
there's
like
some rules. There's definitely some
rules.
structure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, and I wrote here too. Like, definitely takes you on a journey. Like all these songs, like feels like you're going on a journey for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
The next one I have is Raga Pahadi.
Nice.
Yeah.
No complaints with that one.
Okay. This is a 20-minute song. And, you know,
Yep.
so 20 minutes is a long track, right? And, you know, like I was saying before, these are meditative, peaceful songs, right? Mostly. But then, of course, like when the percussion comes in, it does take you on a bit of a journey.
This guy wrote bongos.
Yeah,
I love that.
the percussion. The bongos go crazy. 6 minutes in is what I wrote. Yeah. They play it super fast. What was, just for the record again, it starts with a T. What's the word?
Tabla.
Tabla.
Very
Tabla.
good. Yeah.
Then there's like beautiful soloing throughout the song. Just overall, it's following that structure that you mentioned before of just like starts off pretty peaceful, percussion comes in, then it gets a bit more intense, soloing happens, percussion again gets really fast, and there's like an intense buildup at the end. Thought it was pretty cool. The 20 minutes is pretty daunting for me. But otherwise, if you're cool, and like the other thing too is like I don't listen to a lot of instrumental music, so this was really just like alien for me in many ways. But I appreciated it. I thought it was cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that we're kind of on the opposite ends here. I'm very comfortable with instrumental music. I love a lot of jazz. And this track, when I first saw the 20 minutes timestamp, I got a little nervous. I said, oh no, what am I supposed to do? How am I going to sit down for 20 minutes and listen to this track?
Because don't forget, we're also young Gen Zs,
Yes.
right? We're supposed to have horrible focus and attentiveness. So 20-minute song, like I feel like most people, even the boomers, 20-minute songs are like,
could be a
it's
lot.
like, come on.
I might be the exception. I watch and listen to lectures for fun, and those can be 2 hours or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
We're not like the other Gen Z people.
no, I'm different.
Yeah. Well, we're also both 90s kids too. So
Yeah.
we're like on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z, but
Yeah, we got all the financial problems though.
yeah. Yeah.
But this song, I think, if when you talk about the adventure and how it it really develops, I think this one song, if you were to listen to any song on this record, this would be it, the 20-minute one.
Okay.
Because I feel like it developed the ideas so beautifully, and although it was a long song, it never felt like there was any dead space. It just kept on moving and growing and changing. In addition, the guitar guy, holy moly, he was ripping.
Can we pull the names up actually,
Yes.
just so we can give them credit?
So let's. I'll read out the names for y'all.
Yeah.
We got Santur. We have Shiv Kumar Sharma on Santur, and we got Hari Prasad Chaurasia for flute. Might be also on tabla. I believe he played both. And then we got Bridge Bhushan Cabra on guitar. Legend. Holy moly. So those are the three guys. It's just the call and response between Shiv Kumar and Bridge Bhushan for Santur and guitar was amazing. But also just the guitar ability with the slide, playing those fast lines. A lot of it's on single strings. And so he's just like tweaking out, but beautifully.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting at that point because we didn't get this type of fast playing until this track. And so I feel like there was a payoff for this 20-minute song to then hear this crazy breakdown. So I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like when you're listening to it, it's like, okay, whoa, they're going quick here. Like, and the tablas especially, it was just like, as a percussionist listening to it, it's like, this is like, it's a lot. It's very like just the sheer speed of it is definitely something to behold, I feel like.
Yes.
The next one, this is a word here. Bageshwari, and then in brackets Ektal.
Very good. Ektal, the brackets one, I believe that's the tal, the rhythmic or tempo structure.
Oh, okay.
Similar to how a rag, rag something is kind of like the melodic structure. There's a name for the way it rhythmically develops as well. And Ektal is that. There's a certain meter. I think it's in 5 or 10, but
Okay.
the meter is implied by the name of Ektal. That's the kind of category. And then how it develops, I think, is how it's combined with the rag.
Okay.
So that's what the brackets are.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The flute definitely takes the center stage in this track for sure. It is a 10-minute song. So 2 songs, 30 minutes. Right? But I'm also getting the sense that like you're really supposed to just listen to this like top to bottom. There's not really like you're not really supposed to listen to a song at a time.
Yeah, that was my impression as well. But you could choose, a song at a time. I think
Okay.
it would still work.
Yeah.
Some of the tracks did fade out completely and then start anew. So whatever song started anew, it would make sense that you
Yeah.
can start on that.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. And the last track is Gara, and then brackets Dadra.
Nice.
And I wrote that there's like almost like a cool, like almost smoky guitar intro. And I did get a lot of like psychedelic vibes with the guitar in this track. And yeah, I liked it. I thought it was cool. Lots of reverb as well on the guitar.
I believe the smoky vibe you heard in the beginning was actually a tanpura.
Oh.
It's a drone instrument. Like it was like
Okay.
and that kind of thing. And it's meant to be a accompaniment to whatever else is going on.
Yeah.
Kind of sets the tonic
Yeah.
of the song. And I'm not sure if that's what you.
I
what you were
feel like it was
thinking
more
about
the
then.
guitar tone, like
Okay.
just like the tone of the guitar. Like I had trouble putting it into words, like how it felt. So I don't know, for whatever reason, it evoked the imagery of like just like smoky
Yeah.
vibe. I don't know.
this is the one track that felt like it was in a different session. It felt a lot more low quality. It might have been a demo track. It might have been recorded on a different day, but it definitely
Okay.
felt very distinct recording wise, which is kind of disappointing just because it took me out of what the whole record was. It's very consistent, well put together. And then the last track felt like they had to squeeze it in there because it felt like it was from a different session.
Okay.
It was, it was treated very differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's every song. 8 songs, and I think it was like what, like an hour ish.
Yeah, I think just over an hour.
Full runtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely each song had some weight to it in terms of minutes.
Definitely.
But yeah, overall, very peaceful, calming. Actually, I don't even want to say that because there were moments that weren't peaceful or calming. It's very much a journey album of like, starting off in a very peaceful, calming, angelic place, and then like transitioning into faster, more intense vibes.
Yeah. I felt like listening to this record felt like a movie.
Yeah.
The landscapes it painted was so evocative, and it felt very welcoming. Sometimes instrumental music is meant to be flashy and show off, and or is structured in a very similar verse chorus manner, and so you can kind of sing along to it without a singer being appearing in the track. But this music and this tradition, I feel like, is just so meditative and introspective, as much as it's communal and collective. That the best thing you do with this is probably just go to a park, put some headphones on, and just go for a walk or something.
Yeah.
And enjoy your time just actually listening to it and see where it takes you. And I felt like it took me to very pleasant places, and there's moments of excitement that made me say like, holy just kind of go that way.
Yeah.
Well, always bringing me back. It felt very grounding. All this was. Yeah.
Nice.
And you mentioned in the beginning that it was meant for kind of like Western audience to kind of like.
I don't know if it was meant for it, but it was an album that Western audiences kind of gravitated towards and found like, oh, like I like this. This is cool. So it was like very much, for whatever reason, accessible for Western audiences. Yeah.
I think the intent of having it of some sort of a concept, a story involved, as well as having the guitar. I mean, amazing guitar player, but a guitar as a somewhat of a familiar sound. I think those two things was enough for me to also feel more comfortable listening to it. I didn't feel as foreign to listening to this music. I kind of I had something to hold on
Grounding
to.
instrument.
Yeah.
Something that you had a connection to. Yeah. Same with me. The guitar is really great, but honestly, my favorite, if I had to pick like a favorite overall thing about this album, is definitely the flute. I
Nice.
definitely really enjoyed listening to the flute. And I get, maybe second. So it's funny because you're saying guitar was for you, but flute and then percussion for me was like always the most exciting moments for me.
The Santur, it was a sound that I'm not familiar with, so it kind of didn't come to my mind too often. But when it did poke out, definitely in the call and response moments from the guitars, it was astounding. I was like, what is this little clickety clack thing going on? Like, it was insane how fast, and the flurries that he was able to paint, and it was really interesting to hear that sound because you don't really hear that very often.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah. Did we want to talk about the album art at all?
Well, I'm confused about the album art. Might have been a lot of releases about it. The one that we both have agreed that we were looking at was kind of like this blue and white, kind of monochrome type of cover.
Yeah.
It seemed like a really well packaged type of thing, like you would see in like a library almost.
Yeah.
You got the 3 faces of the dudes, their instruments and their names.
Instruments, yeah.
So I like that. It was almost very informative.
Yeah.
It feels like a very informative album cover, and I
Yeah.
felt like that was actually very welcoming.
Yeah.
Like it makes me more confident to pick this record up.
Yeah. And I do like the imagery of the water in the valley,
The long boat.
the longboat. Yeah, I like that as well. I will say it gave too much library vibes. You know what I mean?
It can go there.
But otherwise, it worked. The information was nice to have while I was like listening to the album. So
Yeah.
okay, let's give our overall scores.
Wow. Did you want to go first?
Sure. I think that that you should listen to this album. You should give it a listen. You should try it. It is not for me. I don't think I'll be returning to this album with any haste necessarily, but I'm open to going back to it if anyone ever is like, "Hey, let's listen to this album." I'll be like, "Hey, I've listened to it before. It's pretty cool," but it's not going to become a regular part of my listening. I don't think.
But the vibes, though.
The vibes are great. It's just, especially the fact that, like, because I don't listen to a lot of instrumental music in general. I'm very, very vocal. Like, vocals have always been like a really big thing for me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, wasn't for me, but I think you should try it. Therefore, it's a 3 out of 5 for me.
Nice. Okay. Respectable.
Respectable.
You know, if we go on a road trip or on tour or what have you, I'm putting this one on.
Yeah.
Again.
Okay.
Vibes are impeccable.
Sounds great. Yeah.
I give it a 4.
Okay.
I give it a 4 because, one, I was very happy that I knew you were listening to it. And then 2, it was a good reminder of some of the music that's been around in my childhood and music that has inspired me in very interesting ways. And the presentation of this all felt just very cohesive and very accessible enough for me to kind of remind myself of like, oh, cool, that's some music that I should probably check out and get into. So I give it a 4. Musicianship off the charts. I think the landscapes that it painted for me auditorily was just brilliant. And I really enjoy listening to this album. So I give it a 4.
Okay. There you have it, folks. 7 out of 10
Wow.
for this Call of the Valley album.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Give us your thoughts in the comment section. What did you think of our review? What did you think of the album itself? If you gave it a listen, please subscribe if you liked it, and give the video a like as well. And we hope to see you in the next video. Take care.
Peace.
Nice.